A month after my father died, a woman came to my door claiming to be his wife of 15 years wearing a ring that looked exactly like the one we buried with him. I stared at her manicured nails, her designer coat, and the cold confidence in her eyes. Emma, you look terrible, he said, pulling out a chair for me. What's going on? My father died last month, but yesterday, a woman showed up at my door with his wedding ring. I am Mrs. Winters, she said, holding out her hand with a matching band. Your father's wife of 15 years? I stared at her perfectly manicured nails, her expensive coat, and the wedding ring that looked exactly like my father's, the one I thought my mother had buried with him. That's impossible, I stammered, gripping the doorframe to stay upright. My father was married to my mother for 30 years, until he died. Mrs. Winters, Diana, as she later introduced herself, smiled with practiced patience. May I come in, Emma? Here is quite a lot we need to discuss about James's estate. The calm way she said my father's name sent chills through me. She knew him well enough to wear his ring and speak his name with familiar ease. I stepped aside, mechanically watching the stranger glide into my family home with the confidence of someone who belonged there. My childhood photos stared down from the walls as this woman claiming to be my father's wife settled onto our living room couch. Your father maintained 2 separate households for nearly 2 decades, Diana explained, removing legal documents from her designer handbag, and according to these papers, I have legal claim to this house and half of Winter Industries. My hands trembled as I took the documents. The signature was unmistakably my father's, the same signature I'd seen countless times on birthday cards, school permission slips, and business papers. This is some kind of mistake, I said, but the certainty was draining from my voice with each passing second. My father would never do this to you and your mother. Diana finished my sentence, her expression softening slightly. I am sorry to be the one to tell you, but James was very skilled at compartmentalizing his life. On Mondays through Thursdays, he was here with you. Thursdays through Sundays, he was with me and Olivia in Lakeside. Olivia, the name stuck in my throat. Your half-sister, Diana said, pulling out her phone to show me a photo of a girl about my age with my father's eyes and smile. She doesn't know I am here either. James wanted to keep our family separate even after his death, but his accident complicated things. I sank into the armchair, my father's favorite seat, trying to process that my entire childhood had been built on a carefully constructed lie. Those business trips, those late nights at the office. He'd been living another life entirely. Get out, I whispered, then louder. Get out of my house. Diana collected her papers calmly. I understand this is a shock, Emma, but we'll meet to discuss the estate soon. The house, the company legally. They're as much mine as they are your mother's. She placed her business card on the coffee table. I'll give you some time, but my lawyer will be in touch. After she left, I sat frozen for what felt like hours before pulling out my phone with shaking hands. I called the only person I could think of who might help make sense of this nightmare. Tyler, it's Emma. I need your help. It's about my dad. Tyler had been my closest friend since childhood before going to law school. Now I desperately needed both the friend and the lawyer. After hanging up, something compelled me to go to my father's study, a room my mother hadn't been able to enter since his death. The heavy oak door creaked as I pushed it open, his lingering cologne making my eyes water, or maybe those were just tears. I started opening drawers aimlessly, not sure what I was looking for until I found it. A false bottom in his desk drawer. In ply was a stack of photographs, my father with Diana at what appeared to be their wedding, my father holding a newborn baby, my father with his arm around a teenage girl who had a smile standing in front of a lake house I'd never seen, an entire life I knew nothing about. Tyler's law office smelled of leather and lemon polish, 3 years out of law school, and he already had the corner office at his firm, always the overachiever. When I walked in clutching my father's duplicitous document, his confident smile faded. I dropped Diana's papers on his desk. Apparently my father had another wife and another daughter, and now they want our house and the company. Tyler's expression shifted from concern to focused professionalism as he examined the documents. These appear legitimate, he admitted, after a long silence. That's not possible, I insisted, pacing across his office. My father built Winter Industries from nothing. He wouldn't just split ownership with another family, Tyler finished, looking up from the papers. Emma, I need to ask something difficult. Did you ever suspect your dad was living another life? I stopped pacing, memories flooding back like a slideshow of red flags I'd ignored. Dad missing my high school graduation for an emergency business trip, the way he always took Thursday and Friday calls in his car rather than at home. How he never wanted our family vacations to last more than 3 days. He was always ... compartmentalized, I said, borrowing Diana's word. Mom just said it was his way of handling stress, keeping work separate from family time. I need to see your father's will, the one your mother has. I handed him another folder. Here, it leaves everything to my mother with me as the secondary beneficiary. Tyler placed the 2 documents side by side, his forehead creasing. He executed 2 conflicting wills. One in 2008 that names your mother as his sole heir, and this one from 2010 that acknowledges both marriages and splits his assets. How is that even legal? It's not, Tyler sighed. Bigamy is illegal in all 50 states, but it creates a legal nightmare for inheritance. We'll need to investigate his financial records to understand what he actually owned versus what was jointly held with either wife. I sank deeper into the chair. Does this mean I need to tell Mom? Tyler reached across the desk to squeeze my hand. Emma, you have to. Diana could show up at your door with the sheriff to claim property any day now. My mother's reaction wasn't what I expected. No screaming, no crying, just a strange, resigned calm as she sat at our kitchen table staring at Diana's card. You knew, I asked, stunned by her lack of surprise. She twisted her wedding ring identical to the one Diana had shown me. I suspected. Affairs. James was distant for so many years. But another family, she shook her head. I never imagined he'd build a whole separate life. Why did you stay? I demanded, suddenly angry on her behalf. She looked up with tired eyes. Per you, for the stability, and because I loved him despite everything. She paused. Did this woman mention their daughter? Olivia, I said, the name still foreign on my tongue, my half-sister. Mom nodded slowly. He has a photo of her, kept it hidden in his wallet. I found it once when doing laundry. He said she was the daughter of a colleague who died. She laughed bitterly. I am working with Tyler to figure out the legal mess, I assured her. We won't let them take the house. The house doesn't matter, Emma, she said, staring out the window at the garden Dad had meticulously maintained every Sunday before driving back to his other life. What matters is that the man I mourned never really existed. The next morning, Tyler called with more disturbing news. I've been reviewing your father's financial transactions, he said, his voice tight. Emma, he was moving significant money from Winter Industries into personal accounts for years. What kind of money are we talking about? Millions. Met that the company is now severely undercapitalized. I felt sick. Was he embezzling from his own company? Technically SEO, he had authority to move funds. But these transfers bypassed normal compensation channels. It appears he was funding his second household and setting up some kind of trust. A horrible thought struck me. Tyler, what about my college fund? The one he promised would cover my MBA next year? The silence on the other end answered before Tyler did. It was liquidated 3 months before his death. I am sorry, Emma. I hung up and sat in stunned silence. Not only had my father betrayed our family emotionally, he'd stolen our financial future too. I arrived early to Winter Enterprise, using my key to Dad's office for the first time since his death. As the company's nominal marketing director, a position Dad had created for me after college, I had access to most areas, but his private office had remained locked since the accident. The executive floor was empty at 7 a.m. as I began searching his files. If Dad had been siphoning money from the company, there had to be records. I needed to understand what we were up against before employees started arriving. The elevator dinged, startling me. Nobody should be here this early. A young woman stepped out, her heels clicking purposefully across the marble floor. She stopped short when she saw me behind Dad's desk, with her dark hair and sharp cheekbones, so like my father's. I knew immediately who she was. You must be Emma, she said coldly, dropping her designer bag on a chair. I am Olivia Winters. We need to talk. I stood slowly studying the sister I never knew existed. Where I had our mother's softer features and blonde hair, Olivia was undeniably James Winters' daughter, from her confident stance to her calculating eyes. How did you get in here? I asked. She dangled a key identical to mine. Dad gave it to me when I finished my MBA last year. I've been handling East Coast accounts for the company since then. She gestured around. I assume from your rummaging that your mother told you about us. Actually, your mother came to our house yesterday. Quite the wake-up call to learn your dead father was a bigamist. Olivia flinched. That's rich coming from you. Your mother was the other woman, not mine. Dad married my mom first. I felt like I'd been slapped. What are you talking about? My parents were married for 30 years. On paper, maybe, Olivia scoffed. But he married my mother in a private ceremony 15 years ago. They've been together since college. Your mother was his midlife crisis that never ended. The ground seemed to shift beneath me. Could Dad have known Diana before Mom? I shook my head, refocusing. Whatever the timeline, this company belongs to my mother. Dad built it while married to her. Olivia laughed sharply, with capital from my mother's family. Where do you think he got the startup money? The lakeside property has been in my mother's family for generations, and she sold parcels to fund his precious company. How much of my family history was fabricated? Your family has stolen from us for years, Olivia continued, stepping closer. Dad promised both of us would inherit the company together. Instead, we find out he's been hiding half his life and letting your mother drain resources. That's not true, I shot back. If anything, he was funneling money to your household. My college fund disappeared months ago. Something flickered across Olivia's face, surprise, maybe even concern before hardening again. My trust fund vanished too. Semen has been playing both sides, and I am going to find out who. The elevator dinged again, and Tyler stepped out, stopping short when he saw us together. Emma, I got your message, he began, then noticed Olivia. Oh, and who's this? Olivia asked, eyeing Tyler suspiciously. Tyler Matthews, Emma's attorney, he introduced himself, extending a hand that Olivia ignored. Well, you are about to be very busy, counselor. My mother's lawyers are filing for an emergency injunction today to freeze all company assets and prevent either family from accessing them until ownership is determined. Tyler's professional mask slipped momentarily. That's unnecessary. We could work together to save it. Olivia cut him off. Your client's family has been lying to us for decades. We're done playing nice. She grabbed her bag and headed to the elevator, pausing before stepping inside. By the way, Emma, you might want to check on your mother. I heard the bank foreclosure notice arrived yesterday. After she left, I collapsed into Dad's chair. Foreclosure, Tyler, what is she talking about? I was coming to tell you. The mortgage on your family home has been in default for months. Your father stopped making payments shortly before his death. I fought back tears. Did he drain every account before he died? Why would he do this to us? I don't know, Tyler said, squeezing my shoulder, but with both families filing claims, and now this foreclosure? Emma, someone needs to keep the company running, or there won't be anything left to fight over. I stared at the family photo on Dad's desk, my mom, and him at my college graduation, all smiles, all lies. Then I guess that someone has to be me. Mom's hospital room was painfully bright, antiseptic light bouncing off white walls. The doctor called it acute stress reaction, but I knew the truth. Decades of lies had finally broken her. Finding the foreclosure notice had been the final straw. The medication will help her rest, the nurse explained, adjusting Mom's knee. She should be more coherent tomorrow. I nodded, squeezing Mom's limp hand before stepping into the hallway. 3 days of running Winter Enterprise while fighting Diana's legal maneuvers had left me exhausted. Our family friends were dividing into camps, some supporting us, others admitting they'd known about Dad's double life all along. Family of Catherine Winters. A doctor approached with a clipboard. That's me, I confirmed. And I am her daughter-in-law, came a voice behind me. Diana stood there, elegantly dressed, even for a hospital visit. You have no right to be here, I hissed. Diana's expression softened unexpectedly. Emma, despite what you think, I never wanted Catherine hurt. James always spoke highly of her strength. Don't you dare talk about my mother, I whispered, conscious of the doctor watching our exchange uncomfortably. I'll give you privacy, he murmured, retreating down the hall. Diana sighed once he left. This situation is untenable. Our lawyers are bleeding both families dry while the company suffers. What do you suggest? I asked suspiciously. A truce, at least temporarily. She glanced toward Mom's room. Catherine needs stability now, not stress. And Olivia tells me you've been keeping the company afloat admirably. I studied her face for signs of manipulation, but found only weariness. Why should I trust you? Because James hurt us both, she said simply, and someone else may have been helping him do it. I waited nervously at the lakeside Keskio Diana had suggested, watching the afternoon sun scatter diamonds across the water. The waitress had just delivered my coffee when Olivia slid into the seat across from me. This better be important, she said, ordering in fresa without looking at the menu. My mother thinks I am at a business lunch. I pushed a folder across the table. I found these in Dad's private server files, financial transfers to offshore accounts that neither of our mothers controlled. Olivia scanned the documents, her expression darkening. These are dated after Dad's accident. Exactly, Chauvin with access to his passwords has been moving money. Money that doesn't belong to them. She looked up sharply. You suspect my mother? I suspect everyone, I admitted, but these particular transfers would have required physical access to Dad's office computer or his secure token. Olivia was silent for a long moment. So either it's someone at Winter Enterprise or someone close to both of us, I finished. We sat in uncomfortable silence until her fresa arrived. Finally, Olivia spoke. Why show me this? Why not just tell your lawyer? I stirred my coffee, choosing my words carefully because Tyler advised against it. He said it would complicate the legal case. Something changed in Olivia's expression. We grew up together, I explained. He was like like family. Family, Olivia repeated slowly. Did Tyler ever visit your lake house growing up? I frowned. We didn't have a lake house, but we did, Olivia said, leaning forward. And Tyler came with Dad several times when I was younger. They seemed very close. A chill ran through me despite the warm day. That's impossible. Tyler never mentioned knowing Dad outside our hometown. Olivia pulled out her phone, scrolling through photos before sliding it across the table. There was a younger Tyler, arms slung around our father's shoulders, standing on a dock I'd never seen. Everyone's been lying to both of us, Olivia said quietly, including your precious family friend. On the drive home, my phone rang with Tyler's number. I let it go to voicemail, my mind racing with implications. How long had Tyler known about Dad's second family? What else was he hiding when I pulled into my driveway? Tyler was waiting on the porch steps. I'd been calling for hours. The court granted Diana's injunction. I studied his familiar face, searching for signs of the deception Olivia had revealed. Is that all you wanted to tell me? Tyler stepped closer, concern in his eyes. Are you okay? You seem upset. How long have you known my father had another family, Tyler? He froze momentarily before recovering. What are you talking about? I found out when you did. I pulled out my phone and showed him Olivia's photo. The color drained from his face. Emma, I can explain. Save it. I cut him off, using Olivia's dismissive tone from days earlier. I trusted you with everything, and you've been lying to me our entire friendship. It wasn't like that, Tyler insisted, grabbing my arm as I tried to walk past him. Your father made me promise never to tell. He said it would destroy both families. I yanked my arm free. Well, he was right about that part. Pull, I have to saw blind. Rain lashed against the windows of Winter Underseas as I stared at the damning evidence spread across my father's desk. Financial records, email exchanges, and meeting notes painted a picture I could barely comprehend. For 3 hours, Olivia and I had pieced together the fragments of our father's fractured life, and Tyler's role in maintaining it. He was Dad's fixer, Olivia concluded, highlighting another suspicious transfer. Whenever the worlds got too close to colliding, Tyler cleaned up the mess. I nodded numbly. The betrayal cut deeper than I could express. While I'd been pouring my heart out to Tyler about Dad's death, he'd been actively hiding his own complicity. But why continue moving money after Dad died? I wondered aloud. The secret was bound to come out eventually. Olivia leaned back in her chair. Because it was never about keeping the family separate. It was about the money. My phone buzzed with Tyler's 15th call of the day. I silenced it again. He knows we're onto him, I said. Maybe we should talk to the police. With what evidence? Olivia countered. Everything we have shows Dad authorized these transfers. We need Tyler to incriminate himself. The office door opened and we both jumped. Diana stood there, rain dripping from her umbrella. I've been calling both of you, she said, looking between us with surprise. I didn't realize you were working together now. Olivia quickly covered the documents. Mo, what are you doing here? Diana approached cautiously. Tyler Matthews called me. He said Emma was making irrational decisions that could harm both families' interests. Tyler called you? I repeated incredulously. He suggested we present a united front to protect the company's assets. She glanced at our scattered papers. What are you two doing? I looked at Olivia, who gave a slight nod. We'd have to trust someone eventually. We think Tyler has been embezzling from Dad's estate, I said, and possibly manipulating both our families for years. Diana's perfectly composed facade cracked. That's impossible. Tyler has been James's most trusted advisor for years. That's the problem, Olivia interjected. He had access to everything, legal documents, financial accounts, even Dad's private files. And look at this. She showed Diana the records of post-mortem transfers, all authorized using James's credentials. Diana sank into a chair. I don't understand. Why would Tyler do this? Because Dad was planning to come clean about everything, I realized suddenly, remembering something Mom had mentioned in the hospital. He told Mom he had something important to discuss the weekend he died, something that would change everything. He told me the same thing, Thane, Diana admitted, looking shaken. I assumed he was finally going to divorce one of us. Olivia's eyes widened. What if Dad was planning to reveal the truth about both families? Tyler would have lost his power as the keeper of secrets. The office phone rang, startling us all. I put it on speaker. Emma, it's Tyler. We need to talk immediately. I am on my way to the office now. Before I could respond, the line went dead. He's coming here, I said, panic rising. We need to move these documents. No, Diana said with sudden authority. We need to confront him, all of us together. It's time for the truth. As we hastily organized our evidence, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Don't trust Diana either. Check the signature on the second will. It's not your father's. I looked up at Diana, who was helping Olivia collate documents. Could she be involved too? The elevator dinged in the distance, announcing Tyler's arrival. Whatever the truth, we were about to face it together. Tyler's confident stride faltered when he entered the office and saw all three of us waiting. His eyes darted to the documents spread across the desk before settling on me. Emma, we need to speak privately, he said, ignoring Diana and Olivia. Anything you have to say can be shared with all of us, I replied coldly. He loosened his tie nervously. This is about your father's estate, sensitive information like how you've been transferring funds using Dad's credentials since his death, Olivia interrupted, sliding the financial records forward. Tyler's professional demeanor cracked. You don't understand what you were looking at. I think we do, Diana said, standing beside me. You've been manipulating all of us, Tyler. The question is why. For a moment, I thought he might deny everything. Instead, he laughed, a harsh sound that sent chills down my spine. Because James Winters promised me I'd be taken care of, then planned to cut me out. Tyler paced the office like a caged animal. I helped build his empire while he played happy families on both sides of the state. 15 years of cleaning up his messes, of lying to everyone including you, Emma. The raw hurt in his voice caught me off guard. This wasn't just about money. You were in love with him. Diana realized quietly. Tyler stopped pacing. James and I met at a conference 20 years ago. We were together before either of you knew. He looked between Diana and my absent mother. Then he married Catherine. Had you? He nodded toward me, and our relationship became a secret. When he met Diana years later, he promised he was working toward a life where we could be together openly. My mind reeled with this new betrayal. Dad hadn't just maintained two families, he'd strung along a third relationship entirely. The accident wasn't really an accident, was it? Olivia asked, her voice barely audible. James called me that day, said he was finally going to tell everyone the truth. That weekend, all his secrets exposed. His voice cracked. I begged him not to, but he insisted it was time. Said he'd set up trusts for both of you girls, that Catherine and Diana would be provided for. So you confronted him, I whispered, the horrible truth dawning. You were with him when his car went off that bridge. I just wanted to talk, Tyler insisted, tears forming. He was distracted, upset. The road was wet. Diana stepped forward. You let us believe it was an accident all this time while stealing what he intended for his daughters. I was taking what was promised to me, Tyler shouted. 15 years of my life dedicated to a man who kept me hidden while flaunting his two perfect families. I felt strangely hollow watching him unravel. The father I'd mourned had never really existed, just fragments of a man split between too many lives. I have the original will, Tyler admitted finally. The real one, not the convenient forgeries I created afterward. James left controlling interest in Winter under undress to both of you. He nodded to Olivia and me. Equal shares, he wanted you to run it together. Olivia and I exchanged glances after everything Dad had planned for us to be partners. W, here's this will, Diana demanded. Safe deposit box, I'll take you there tomorrow. I shook my head. You'll take us now and then we're going to the police. Tyler's shoulders slumped in defeat. T, here is something else you should know about the house foreclosures. Houses plural, I asked. Both family homes, Tyler confirmed. James transferred the mortgages to a holding company I controlled as insurance leverage if he ever did reveal everything. I activated the foreclosures after his death. Diana's composed exterior finally shattered. You would make us homeless out of spite, out of survival, Tyler corrected. Once you had the real will, you'd have cut me out completely. As security guards I'd quietly called earlier entered to escort Tyler out, I felt no satisfaction, only a profound weariness. The tangled web of lies surrounding my father seemed endless. What happens now? Olivia asked as Tyler was led away. I looked between her and Diana, the family I never knew I had. Now we start picking up the pieces. 6 months after what the business journals dubbed the Winter Einders succession crisis, I stood at the window of the executive office, my office, 3 days a week. Olivia's the other 3. We decided to share the position of CEO, each bringing different strengths to the table. The door opened behind me. Board members are arriving, Olivia announced, setting a coffee on my desk. Ready for this? I nodded, taking a steadying breath. How's Diana doing with the move? Better than expected. Mom actually likes the downtown condo. End quote. The sauce, it's liberating to downsize. Olivia adjusted her blazer. Is she settling in at the lake house? She loves the garden, I replied. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. Our mothers had essentially switched homes after discovering neither property could be saved from Tyler's financial machinations. Instead of fighting, they'd made a practical choice that surprised everyone, including themselves. Tyler's trial was set for next month, vehicular manslaughter and financial fraud. The evidence we'd gathered had been enough for an indictment, though his cooperation had earned him consideration. The truth about Dad's death brought no closure, only confirmation of how thoroughly James Winters had damaged everyone who loved him. They found more evidence in Tyler's storage unit Macdonald's dad kept about all of us. My stomach tightened. Do we want to read those? I don't know, she admitted. More secrets, more pain, but maybe some answers too. Our half-sibling relationship remained complicated, built on shared betrayal rather than shared childhood. Yet something like friendship had developed between us, forged in the crucible of the past 6 months. The intercom buzzed. Miss Winters, the board is assembled? Olivia smiled wryly. Which Miss Winters are they asking for? Both of us, I replied, gathering my presentation materials. That's the point. Together, we walked into the boardroom where 12 people awaited our quarterly update. The company Dad built had survived, even thrived, under our joint leadership. Whatever his flaws, he'd raised 2 daughters capable of salvaging his legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, thank you for your continued faith in our vision for Winter Addresses. As Olivia took over the financial section of the presentation, I studied the faces around the table. Former adversaries now working toward common goals, much like our unexpected family. Later that evening, I met both mothers for dinner, something that would have been unthinkable half a year ago. They developed an unlikely bond, united by the man who had deceived them both. To making it through another month, Diana toasted, raising her wine glass. My mother clinked glasses with her former rival. To unexpected new beginnings, I added my glass to theirs. To the truth, however painful. As we dined, I received a text from Olivia. Storage unit key arrived tomorrow after work. I replied simply, together. Whatever secrets still lurked in our father's past, we would face them as a unit. This strange, broken family pieced back together in ways no one could have predicted. Walking home through the gentle evening rain, I passed my reflection in a storefront window. I barely recognized the confident woman staring back, so different from the devastated daughter who had opened the door to Diana 6 months ago. Some questions would always remain unanswered, some wound would never fully heal, but standing in the rain, I realized I no longer needed my father's approval or explanation. His absence had forced me to become someone stronger than the person who had lived in his shadow. The rain fell harder as I continued my walk, washing away the day. Whatever came next, the trial, the journals, the future of our unusual family, I was finally ready to face it on my own terms. My phone buzzed with another message from Olivia. Mom found more photos. Sane man in all of them with Dad, not Tyler. I stopped walking, rain soaking through my jacket as I stared at the message. Just when we thought we'd uncovered all his secrets, the story of James Winters wasn't over. But my chapter as his victim was whatever we discovered tomorrow. I would face it not as the betrayed daughter, but as the woman who had survived the betrayal and emerged stronger. I texted back. Whatever it is, we'll handle it. Then I put my phone away and continued walking through the rain, head held high toward whatever truth awaited.